focus on Capitol Hill is shifting back to New York Congressman George Santos.
File an ethics complaint against Republican Representative George Santos.
Developing tonight, the scandal surrounding Long Island Congressman George Santos is growing.
If you've caught a whiff of the political whirlwind that has surrounded George Santos and it's left you dizzy, you are not alone. He has been hit with a firestorm of controversy after he shockingly admitted to lying about key parts of his life, which would technically be the exact opposite of the character traits expected of those sworn into public office. It brings into question how seriously are candidates vetted before entering the political arena. Up until these recent revelations, Santos has been the type of fresh face that the Republican Party would have put at the front of their campaigns. He's a Latino representative-elect who's openly gay and is only 34 years old. By winning the election in New York's 3rd congressional district last year, he seems to have cracked the code to succeeding as a Republican on Democratic-leaning turf. Let's take a look at who George Santos really is and why his first day of Congress has stirred up so much controversy. Before George Santos won the race in the November midterm election, he billed himself as the full embodiment of the American dream. But even with all this victory, he has no chance of enjoying it and celebrating. His entire life narrative has become nothing but tatters, with the embattled soon-to-be representative admitting that most of his life on his CV has been made up. Now he has been facing a lot of calls to resign as federal and local investigations are ongoing. But it all gets worse because there are new allegations of lies that are emerging on nearly a daily basis as he is supposed to begin his duties on Capitol Hill. He was even spotted with a $7,800 Cartier watch recently, and people are already claiming that it is a counterfeit. If you look up who George Santos is, you will find a biography that was published online by his campaign. And even though it has already been rewritten, it says that Mr. Santos is a first-generation American born in the New York City borough of Queens. According to this website, his grandparents fled Jewish persecution in Ukraine, settled in Belgium, and again fled persecution during World War II. After that, they settled in Brazil, where his parents came from. However, his Brazilian-born parents later immigrated to the US in search of the American dream. Mr. Santos had claimed that he was educated at Baruch College in New York before he became a seasoned Wall Street financier and investor, with experience working at prestigious firms. Among these firms, he has mentioned Goldman Sachs and Citigroup. In addition to all these claims, he has stated that he owns 13 properties, which he has worked hard for, and that his mother was in her office in the South Tower of the World Trade Center on September 11th. In October, his campaign's website claimed that she survived the attack but died several years later. He is a relative newcomer to US politics, but he still received a lot of recognition as the first openly gay Republican to win a seat in the House of Representatives as a non-incumbent with his victory in November. Now, there have been allegations that Mr. Santos has been living a lie, but what exactly, or allegedly, did he lie about? On December 19, the New York Times published a story that questioned most of Mr. Santos's credentials. This includes his education and his work experience. Since he started being investigated, other news outlets have not yet found evidence that his grandparents fled anti-Semitism in Europe, or that he is Jewish. This questions his earlier boasts that he is a proud American Jew. Since the initial reports that his life is mostly a lie, he has come clean about it, claiming that he embellished his background. He never really graduated from any university or even worked for Goldman Sachs or Citigroup. And rather than owning property across New York, he actually lives with his sister on Long Island. And amid all these lies, it was discovered that his mother actually died in 2016. He even went as far as to acknowledge that he misrepresented his faith, telling the New York Post that he is Catholic. He claims that he said he was Jew-ish after learning that his maternal family had a Jewish background. Mr. Santos told the Post, "My sins here are embellishing my resume. I'm sorry." There are new claims every now and then, and the allegations against him are still growing. In some of the latest news, it has been revealed that the Brazilian authorities are planning to revive fraud charges against Mr. Santos, which are related to 2008 stolen checkbook. According to the court records, Mr. Santos spent about $700 using a false name and stolen checks in the city of Niterói, near Rio de Janeiro. However, because they could not find him, the Brazilian authorities had no option but to suspend the case. The Brazilian prosecutor charged with the case sent a statement to the BBC's US partner, CBS, saying that Mr. Santos's swearing in as a congressman means that he has a certain address where he can be summoned, which means that the case can be continued. On December 29, the New York Times reported that Mr. Santos's campaign paid about $11,000 to a cleaning company for apartment rental for staff. This was in addition to a slew of disbursements that were pegged at $199.99, which is exactly 1 cent lower than the threshold at which receipts are required by federal law. However, the campaign expenditures don't end there. There is also an additional $40,000 for air travel, which is a figure that the newspaper noted resembles the campaign filings of party leaders in Congress, as opposed to a newly elected congressman who is still introducing himself to local voters. Even though it is unclear at this point whether there are any laws that have been broken, federal and local officials have vowed to look into his finances. For example, the Nassau County District Attorney has said that they are examining numerous fabrications and inconsistencies with his campaign. District Attorney Ann Donnelly said, "No one is above the law, and if a crime was committed in this county, we would prosecute it." Do you think Mr. Santos will face any charges or repercussions? Santos isn't the first and certainly won't be the last political figure to come under fire for their actions. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.